Okay guys, welcome back. So as you all know, we're probably very familiar with like this tendency of being indirect in Chinese culture. Things, especially when it comes to like personal preference or like occasions that you have to expose yourself about your personal emotions. So Chinese people tend to give a maybe instead of direct yes or no. So in this lesson, we're going to introduce the Chinese way, which is also the indirect way to respond to such questions. So the situation we're talking about here is actually pretty common. Say if you go out with a bunch of Chinese friends and you know Chinese people share food and drinks, so when it comes to ordering, your personal preference actually concerns other people as well, because you know in the end everybody's going to share everything. But if you go out with friends, they're probably gonna hand you over the menu and ask you to order first to show their friendliness or politeness. But when you open this menu, you're like, what the heck? I don't even know what are those dishes made of, and even like by looking at those photoshopped pictures of those dishes. So I don't know what to order. But it's also kind of awkward if you just return this menu and say, I can't. So what can you say here? Say if your friends ask you, 你想吃什么? What do you feel like eating? Or 你来点. You go ahead and order. That's a lot of pressure, isn't it? But after today's lesson, you're going to know how to adroitly deflect this kind of request. Now take a look at this phrase, at this word on the board. It reads as 随便, 思维随, 不一案变. It means whatever. But the implicit meaning it carries is I'm cool with everything. You can go ahead and decide, or I don't care. Just you decide. It's up to you. But this basically express your attitude of like being very casual and mild. And if you pay close attention, you find Chinese people actually use this word very often. 你想吃东西吗? 随便啊. Do you feel like eating something? It's up to you. No, whatever. Or do you want an apple or banana? 你想要苹果还是香蕉? 随便啊. I don't care, whichever. Or 你想去看电影吗? Do you want to go for a movie? 随便啊. Whatever. It's up to you. But is it true that people don't have any preference? You know that's not possible, because of course everybody has a preference. But it's just in Chinese culture, people are very cautious about not offending others' preferences, because sometimes it's risky if your personal preference is contradict someone else's preference. In order to achieve this harmony, and some people just decide to give up and surrender by making no choice. And especially in like formal settings, usually like the people or the person with the highest social rank or say seniority also has the right to make decision. So suppose your boss or your senior ask you like what you want to do or what you want to eat, and you just frankly and tell him or her like your personal preference. But unfortunately your personal preference is not so appealing to the person who has the actual right to make the decision. Then you risk him or her to either reject you or to just compromise for you, which might bring future revenge. Well, this phrase can be very useful because it literally indicates your attitude, or not having an attitude. So by making it even more politer, you can add 看你, which literally means look at you, but actually means it's up to you. Or you decide, 你决定, it's your decision. I'm okay with everything, and etc. that you depend on other people's preference or opinions, that you respect other people's preference and opinions. Well, interestingly, because Chinese people use this word so often that even ourselves get annoyed by it. So if I ask my friend, do you want a Pepsi or a Coca-Cola? And if he or she says, 随便, whatever, then I would either make the decision for him or her, or I would respond, 我买不到随便, which means I can't buy a 随便, or 哪里可以买随便, where can I buy a 随便? So in this case, I'm literally treating the 随便 as something tangible, that something exists. But obviously you're just being sarcastic and your friend will get it. So you're like kind of forcing him or her to make a yes, no, make it clear. Like, which one do you want? Just tell me. One funny thing is that there is actually a kind of ice cream in China that is called 随便. And it came out like a while ago. And when it first came out, people used to joke about it because it actually turns 随便 into something tangible, into something you can actually buy. I love this creativity, but unfortunately, this ice cream doesn't taste as good as it should be. So anyway, but let's call it a lesson, and I think that's all we have for today. And I hope you've been learning, and I hope you enjoy our lessons. So I guess see you next time. Well, don't forget to check out our websites because it's very organized and detail-oriented, and I think you will benefit a lot from it. Bye-bye.